When you come in here, the rules of the game are different. What you can't do is talk over me. Now that's what you can't do. I think this is about your relationship. I just thought it was sex. Because it only gets worse for you. Act like you already know what you already know. This ain't new information to you. It's new information to me. This is why I got up this morning.
Today on Judge Dad.
I had lingerie go missing from the laundry room in the time I was there, so I'm worried.
I'm rarely without words. Rarely. I can count on one hand when I cannot find the words to express the antipathy that I feel in this moment.
Court is in session. Dr. Sean McMillan presiding.
Good day, everyone. We are here because plaintiff Becky Hansen is suing the defendant, Richard Stiles, in the amount of $4,500 for rent, and the defendant, Mr. Stiles, is counter-suing Ms. Hansen for $13,500 for 9 months of unpaid rent per as laid out in the lease. Interesting. So, Ms. Hansen, tell me why we're here today.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I moved into an apartment. I only ended up living there for about 3 months. Mr. Stiles was the landlord of the building, and I pretty immediately got, I guess you'd call it an off vibe from him, like a weird energy. The first sort of strike was he offered to take me to a welcome to the building dinner, which I've lived in a fair number of apartments in my life. I've never had a landlord offer something like that before. I said, thanks, but no thanks. And he got really insistent that he knew a great place and what kind of wine do I like. It'd be so nice. So I had to get a little pushy and really push back against that. I'm a massage therapist, and he immediately went in, I've heard the jokes before, but to get it from your landlord, sort of the inappropriate misrepresentation of what I do and trying to joke about that.
What did he say in the way of a joke? What did he say about what you do?
I don't think we've ever had someone who, brings guys around and rubs them for money in this apartment, stuff like that.
That's true.
Mr. Stiles, don't interrupt, sir. You'll talk when I'm ready for you to address the court. Ms. Hansen, keep going.
Sure. So all of that made me fairly uncomfortable knowing that this was my landlord, who I am stuck with for a year, and sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. And the actual reason I broke my lease 3 months in was I discovered Mr. Stiles had placed a surveillance camera in the hallway outside my apartment. He did not make me aware of this. He claims it has to do with my job, but at no time, I've submitted the photo to evidence. That's me leaving my apartment. That is my front door in sort of the foreground, I guess, of the shot. No one else has a camera trained on their door like that. So when I discovered that camera was there, and I was never told that camera would be there, I broke my lease and am attempting to get the money back for the 3 months of rent I paid for.
So you found out that there's a camera outside of your apartment trained uniquely at your door. There are no other cameras focused on apartment doors and in this building other than yours. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And when you found that out, you broke your lease. Mr. Stiles, what do you have to say about what Ms. Hansen is telling me today?
Thank you, Your Honor. Firstly, the getting to know you dinner is something that I've been doing for about 3 years now as a landlord, and it's a way to kind of make sure that people feel safe around me, and I feel safe with them as tenants. And it's just something that I do.
Why is your concern that people feel safe around you? I mean, I've moved into a bunch of buildings myself, and that was never a concern of the landlord or mine, quite frankly.
I can't speak of other landlords, but I think that it's important that people that live in my building.
It is a truism that you cannot speak for other landlords. I need not have you tell me that. What I'm asking you is, why is it that safety is a paramount concern for you?
I want people to feel comfortable. I want people to feel safe. I want people to have a sense of community, and I think it's important that the landlord is a part of that. So that's why I do the dinners. Now, if she had felt uncomfortable, she should have said something to me, and she could have not signed the lease as well if she decided that she wasn't comfortable working with me. But she did. She signed the lease. Now, as for the camera, she said it's the only one. It's the only one for now. Uh, my goal is to put up more cameras in the entire building to make sure that everyone feels secure.
Well, you've had three
It's
months to do that because she was there for 3 months, and in the span of 3 months, that remained the only camera.
Yes, Your Honor. That's because the cameras are expensive, and I'm getting very high-end cameras because I want to make sure that the quality of video taken is high enough that we can recognize people if anything happens. And so I'm taking my time and making sure it's done right instead of making sure it's done quickly. Plus, she's the only person running a business out of her apartment, or was the only person running a business out of her apartment. And these are total strangers coming in and out of her place all the time, and I don't know them. She doesn't know them
Mr.
sometimes.
Styles, they are
Honor,
total.
these are my clients. They're-
Ms. Hanson, let me fly this plane. Mr. Styles, rather. They're total strangers coming out of everybody's apartment. I'm assuming you don't expect to know everybody who comes in and out of everybody's apartment in that building.
No, but the people that do live in those apartments know them. She takes on clients. I mean, it could be somebody new. She doesn't know that person the first time they come over. It could be
How do you
an
know that,
ex-murderer.
sir? How do you know that? How do you know what her level of comfort or familiarity are with people who come into her home? How do you know that?
Well, I would assume that if she didn't take on new clients, she'd run out of business at some point.
And just like you purport to have a get to know you dinner with the people who are moving into your building, you don't think that she has a way of getting to know the people before they come into her home? My point is, you have no way of knowing what her connection happens to be to the people that she invites into her home, not to mention the fact that it's, quite frankly, none of your business.
But it's a matter of security when when people come into the building. Like, that's
It's
what I'm saying.
only a matter of security if there has been some violation of safety. Are you telling me today that there's been some violation of safety in any way?
No, Your Honor. There hasn't been any
But then
violation
it's
of
not a
safety.
matter of security. Ms. Jones, this has to be the most problematic building in America. You got a lot going on in this building.
You are the foul. Get off my stage.
You cannot have an infraction or a protection against an infraction that hasn't happened yet. Nothing's happened. So what is the concern for security if there's been no violation for safety? All right, you're counter-suing for $13,500, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain that to me.
Well, she broke the lease. She left after 3 months, and she'd signed a lease for 1 year, and so I'm asking for the money for the rest of that year.
And so your claim is that since she broke the lease on erroneous, are you claiming that the grounds that she broke it? Because you can break a lease, by the way. It's not like it's possible to break it. You're claiming that the grounds are erroneous.
Yes, completely erroneous.
What makes them erroneous?
Well, firstly, like I said, she signed the lease after she felt uncomfortable, so her claim that she felt uncomfortable, that's not reason to break the lease then, because she already signed it after having that feeling.
Mr. Styles, you never in this country sign away your right to privacy. Never. It's Mr. Styles, it's constitutionally guaranteed to you. So whether she signed the lease or not does not make it erroneous. I get your point. I'm trying to get you to say to me, why do you think you deserve to have the lease paid for or to be remunerated for her breaking the lease when she has told us, ironically, that you're the one who made her feel unsafe and you're the one who made her feel as if she could not be at home in her own house?
Your Honor, the camera is in a public space. It is not in her private space. It's a hallway that many people use. You could see there were other doors along that hallway. There were other tenants. It's about the public safety there in the public space.
Public safety, public space. All right. So one of you brought a witness, I think Ms. Roberta Jones. Ms. Roberta Jones, are you here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Jones, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
It is, I wish we were meeting under better circumstances, but here we are nevertheless. Tell me, Ms. Jones, what would you like to contribute to this moment?
Your Honor, Mr. Stiles is telling you a bold-faced lie right to your face, right to this court's face.
That's not true.
So,
Mr.
Yes,
Stiles,
it is.
hold on.
Yes,
First
yes,
of
it
all, address your comments to me. Mr. Stiles, do not interrupt anybody while they're talking to me. Ms. Jones, continue.
thank you, Your Honor. So, as I was saying, there has been a need for a camera on my hallway. I have been complaining to him for the last 3 years that my next door neighbors, that I will call Beavis and Butthead just to protect their privacy. But they have all kinds of strange people come and go at all hours of the night. And I keep telling Mr. Stiles that they are going way beyond curfew and they're partying in the hallway. And, you know, he's friends with them, so he won't put a camera there. And yet,
Ms. Jones, this has to be the most problematic building in America. You got a lot going on in this building. I swear to you, I'm probably the best judge of person and character and presence that you've ever met in your life.
I am ordering you to heal. That's called a mama with a soft heart.
Son. I'm gonna talk to you as a dad for a second. Ms. Jones, you stayed in this building how long?
I've been there for 10 years.
So you've seen the goings and comings, the ins and outs. You know this building.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, I do. And you know this landlord.
Yes, I do.
Tell me what I really need to know.
Okay. What you really need to know is that after Miss Hanson moved out of the building, we became friends. I should start by saying we became friends early on when she moved into the building. I baked cookies and welcomed her to the building, and ever since then, we've been friends. I'm kind of like a young aunt for her. So anyway, after she moved out, we kept talking about how weird and strange Mr. Stiles is. And we did a little digging into his social media account. And you know what we found? We found that not only were there cameras in the hallway watching Miss Hanson, there were cameras inside of her bedroom. And he was getting paid for people to view her in various stages of undress, and while she was sleeping and coming and going, and in her lingerie.
Miss Jones, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just want to make sure I'm hearing this correctly. Yeah. You found out that the cameras in the hallway were just the tip of the spear. That
yes.
There were cameras in her apartment.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
In her apartment.
Yes, sir. Namely in her bedroom.
In her bedroom particularly.
Yes.
How do you know that these images came from Mr. Stiles?
Well, for two reasons. First of all, because he also has videos of the hallway. The security camera, focused on her door. I don't believe anyone else would have access to that area.
Oh, so the images from the hallway that Miss Hanson knew about before she moved out were additionally on the site with images from her bedroom that she didn't know about, that only found out later because you two did the digging.
Correct.
So there's no way that these images from the bedroom could be coupled with the images from the hallway if Mr. Stiles were not the common denominator.
Exactly.
Mr. Stiles, sir, you need to be doing a lot of talking right now.
Your Honor, firstly, Miss Jones is not a credible witness. She has
Let's not
been.
attack Miss Jones. I want to know how is it that the images that are from the hallway produced by a camera you admitted to me that you put up and you manage and you curate are on a site with images of Miss Hanson from her bedroom?
How do we know that Miss Jones didn't get the access to the camera and put this up herself?
And what is he to Hecuba to him that he should weep for Hecuba? Hamlet said that. And it tantamounts to the same thing. Basically, we're not going to go to whatabouts. We're not going to go to what ifs. We have a very clear connection here, sir. It's clear. Do you manage the camera and the account that's connected to the camera in the hallway? Yes or no?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Yes.
If you manage that camera, how are images from that hallway on a site coupled with images from her bedroom? I could believe one was possible, but one with the other puts you in the middle of this in a very precarious and a very serious way.
Your Honor, the camera footage is uploaded to the cloud. Unfortunately, with the internet being what it is, that can be hacked. And if somebody's looking specifically for that information, it's even easier to hack. And so it very well could have been Miss Jones, who has had a very adversarial relationship with me lately, because her and her neighbors have been complaining back and forth about each other. She doesn't talk about the complaints against her. And so
Mr.
it could
Stiles,
be anyone.
Mr. Stiles, I don't know Miss Jones. I've only met her today, but I swear to you, I'm probably the best judge of person and character and presence that you've ever met in your life. It takes me 20 seconds to know somebody, whether they got guile or goodness, whether they're ready for something greater or not. Miss Jones does not appear to me in any way to be a tech-savvy person who could pull stuff off clouds and put them on websites. Absolutely not. All right, Miss Hanson, do you have any proof, any evidence at all that there were cameras in your bedroom?
I do, Your Honor. I've submitted for evidence photos from the video cameras that were placed in my bedroom. These are photos of me that were taken without my permission, getting ready for bed, in bed. There's more risque ones that I would rather not be shown publicly. But yes, I have submitted those.
These photos that I have here are from your bedroom.
They are, yes.
I'm rarely without words. Rarely. I can count on one hand when I cannot find the words to express the antipathy that I feel in this moment, Mr. Stiles, for you and what you are alleged to have done. And alleged is far too generous. Listen, these photos are so invasive and so startling that we're not even going to show them. We can't show these photos. I don't want to put this out into the world.
I had lingerie go missing from the laundry room in the time I was there.
It cost you your safety, your sanity, and put you through the trauma of coming here today to have to relive this experience.
You are the foul. Get off my stage.
Ms. Hanson, please tell me, if you will, it's a very simple question. When you found out that these images were on a website, what did it do to you?
I mean, it destroyed me. It's horrifying that he's selling these photos of me in various stages of changing, of undress, shocked, horrified, not surprised. I mean, just given, how the vibe I got from Mr. Stiles, I'm worried. I had lingerie go missing from the laundry room in the time I was there. So I'm worried, he's selling things online. I had to change my hair color. I had to do damage control. It's been a really damaging experience, honestly. He's lucky I'm just suing for the 3 months rent and not.
Well, Ms. Hanson, he's about to be not as lucky as you just mentioned. Ms. Jones, let me ask you a quick question before I give my final sort of rendering here. Did Mr. Stiles invite you out for a move-in dinner, get to know you, let's be friends thing?
No, Your Honor, he absolutely did not.
He did not. So this concern
No.
for this
So
concern.
I think it's ageism.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it's ageism. I think he didn't ask me out because I'm not as young and everything as Miss Hanson.
Well, Ms. Jones, based upon what I'm hearing today, you might want to consider yourself lucky, if not blessed, that you are exactly what you are and you are in the stage of life that you are, because had it had been any other way, you might have become entangled with someone who's capable of doing the things that you accused him of. So listen, let's rejoice for exactly where we are in life, because sometimes it's the only protection we get. All right, Miss Hanson, Mr. Stiles, no. I've actually no. I've heard enough from you today, sir, because you've not provided any adequate understanding about how these images got here. I'm completely amazed at how much you are willing to insult the court, at how much you are willing to come into this courtroom today and to think that 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. It absolutely does. It does. Every day and twice on Sunday. Yes, it does. These images can't get on this website without you, because nobody can access the camera that you curate and you control but you. And hacking? Come on, man. Nobody's hacking. Nobody's hacking, sir. You started out the conversation with a concern for safety, a concern for security. And I asked you, why of all the things in the world are you concerned about that? You know why? Because you know who you really are. You know what you're really about. You know what your intentions are. So of course security and safety is what you're concerned about. Now, I'll be right back, Mr. Stiles. I'm not done yet, but I'll be back. Ms. Hanson, let me say something to you, because, you seem like a rather charming, bright, smart lady who did something really dumb. Here's what you did. You signed a lease when you felt something was wrong. You should have never moved into that apartment. You should have trusted yourself to know, trusted your intuitions enough to know that this was not where you should live under any circumstances. I understand you need a place to live, and maybe it was affordable, but guess how much it cost you? Guess how much it cost you in the end? It cost you your safety, your sanity, and put you through the trauma of coming here today to have to relive this experience with a man who was willing to videotape you and sell what he saw on the dark parts of the web. Trust yourself enough to love yourself enough to know when something is not in your best interest. You should have never signed that lease. Do you understand what I'm saying, Ms. Hanson?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Yes, because I'm feeling very, very fatherly towards you right now. I'm feeling like I'm your father. I don't know if your dad's alive or around or whatever, you're close to him, but he's not here, so I'm gonna stand in his place. And I feel like you need to be protected, and you also need to be good, you need a good talking to. Stop it. Listen to your heart. It knows the way. It always does. Mr. Stiles, all right, let's get to it. So first of all, I'm going to make my judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $4,500. Mr. Stiles paid the woman back her money. It's the least you could do. I'm going to dismiss the counterclaim in the amount of $13,500 because the lease was violated not by Ms. Hanson, but by you, sir, when you put cameras in her apartment and you took the images and put them on the net.
I didn't do that.
No, I'm not done, because it only gets worse for you. This is reprehensible on many levels, not the least of which is that I have a sneaky suspicion, and my suspicions tend to be right, that this is criminal. Not just illegal, it's criminal. And I'm going to be referring this matter for a criminal investigation. You cannot be permitted to do this further, and you will not be permitted to do this to any other women anymore. You have to be stopped, and it ends today. So you can expect a knock on your door, and you can expect to have to be accountable, held accountable for the craziness, for the creepiness, and for the nasty that you engaged in. That's my judgment. There you go.
I'm really just trying to move on with my life and take the judge's advice and get better about just trusting my instincts, listening to that and not getting in any more bad situations. And I'm glad to say I am now in a very nice apartment with a very normal, professional landlord.
The judge decided to forward the case on to the authorities, and I was arrested. Most of my tenants have left, so I have a pretty empty building. Jones is still here. She has no problem staying, apparently. My life is not good.